know who likes Rocky Road cookies.
Who?
Dean, they're for Dean.
She's bringing bacons to a boy. Wow, serious?
Here, Dean, these cookies are for you because you're keen. Hi everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Rachel and I just want to wish you a happy Gilmore Girls rewatch season. I am actually already into season 3 and we're getting towards the end of September. And I wanted to do some Gilmore Girls themed baking, and I am going to use the new Sookie's recipe cookbook. I did a previous video that featured some different recipes from the official Gilmore Girls cookbook, and they came out with a sequel, and this is all sorts of recipes that Sookie made throughout the series. And I wanted to do something easy, something cozy. And what is more cozy than fall baking? So we are going to make the famous Rocky Road cookies that Sookie made at the Independence Inn that Rory later gave to Dean. So I have all my ingredients out here on the table, so I am going to show you those, and we are going to start baking. So here is all the ingredients. We have marshmallows, baking powder, egg, butter. We have these chocolate chips, flour, espresso powder, instant coffee, vanilla, salt, macadamia nuts. That's the nuts that I'm using, and I will have to chop these up. There's the brown sugar. And the recipe does call for a high-fat cocoa powder, which I already had. This is the Cocoa Rouge. So it has kind of a red tint in it. So I've used this before for red velvet cake, and it's a really nice cocoa powder. So I am going to go ahead and chop up the macadamia nuts and get started with baking. So the cookies are done baking now, but I need to wait 2 hours according to the recipe for them to cool down completely. They are supposed to cool on the cookie sheets, so it's gonna be a while until I can tuck into these and give you a taste test and let you know what I think of this recipe, so stay tuned. Welcome back. So it is the next day. The cookies are completely cool, and I did put them away in this little bin, and they turned out looking really well. One thing that I noticed is that when I followed the directions and rolled them in my hands when I was making the dough balls and then I flattened them, they got much flatter than when I was just taking my cookie scoop. So I think it really just depends on how you like the look of your cookie. So those ones were flattened, and then this one was the cookie scoop, so you can see a bit of a difference. It's chunkier, not as flat. And this one got a little bit flatter, ran out a little bit more. So with one of the batches, I ended up putting a few more macadamia nuts on top because I thought it looked prettier that way. And I did cheat and try one of these yesterday before they finished cooling because I couldn't resist, but the texture is probably not going to be the same as today because they're completely cooled. So we're gonna give it a taste test, and I can tell you from just picking these up that they're probably going to be dense and chewy. I think that based on how the recipe is, these are gonna be more cake brownie-like than cookie-like. So let's just do a little bit of a... Oh yeah. Ooh, that marshmallow looks gooey. I'm so excited to give these a try. So these are definitely chewy and more cake and brownie like than your traditional like chocolate chip cookie. So I can definitely see why Rory wanted to give these to Dean to impress him, because they were really good, which isn't surprising because I'm sure that everything Sookie makes is amazing. And I have never had a Rocky Road cookie before. This is the first time ever, so it's really exciting that the first time is like the Sookie's recipe Rocky Road cookie, so that's fun. Would I make these again? I would say yes, if someone specifically requested them, but they're not like the most amazing cookie that I have ever had. My personal favorite is the brown butter chocolate chunk from Whole Foods, which I know sounds strange that a grocery store would have my favorite cookie, but that is my ultimate favorite cookie. And then I make this raspberry almond cookie that's just like a sugar cookie with almond, and then it has raspberry jam in the middle, and you do a glaze on top. And I love a good sprints or like sugar cookie or shortbread. So those are like kind of like my favorite cookies, and I've made a lot of different cookies before. I'm kind of a bit of a cookie connoisseur, if you will, when it comes to sweets and baked goods. I'm not a big fan of nuts in cookies, so I think that's probably why I don't love this as much, but also because it didn't have the texture that I would expect from a cookie. It was more like a brownie. So if I wanted a cross between a cookie and a brownie, would I go to this recipe? Maybe. But honestly, I am not sure I would make this again unless it was specifically requested by somebody, because I have given these out to some friends already, and I will be giving them out to a few more people. I also wanted to note that the recipe says it makes 12 to 14 cookies, and I used a 2-inch scoop, which is what it recommended, a 2-inch dough ball, and I got 19 cookies. So I definitely got more than I anticipated out of the recipe, because even when I was reading it, I was like, that seems a little light for a cookie recipe to only get a dozen plus 2. That's pretty small. So when I got a dozen and a half, a little bit more, that seemed pretty fair. I personally would test whether you like using the scoop and just leaving it that way, or if you like to round them in your hand and get them warm and have them flatter. I think it's really a personal preference to the way you like them to look or the way you like them to taste. It's really about like presentation and a little bit of a different taste, probably not that much. Personally, the only other thing I would change about this recipe is just sprinkling a little bit extra of the nuts on top, just for aesthetic purposes, for the way it looks. So other than that, I thought this was a fun recipe to make. I will say that the recipes in this book versus the official Gilmore Girls cookbook that I did a video on a few years ago, this one seems to be a little bit more involved, obviously because it's Sookie. And there's a lot of other really good recipes in here. However, I think some of them are a little too complicated to try to fit them into a video right now, but maybe later I'll do more. So I want to know, what recipe do you want to see me make next from the world of Gilmore Girls? Because I got this book and I got this book. So during your rewatch season this year, maybe if there's something you're interested in seeing me make and taste test, you can let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing feedback from everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for another Gilmore Girls video, and I hope to continue doing these every autumn, fall season, every year. So if you have any other ideas or any other Gilmore Girls videos you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful autumn, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!